So
Doing fantastic, buddy. It's good to see you, man. I'm really excited to have you on the show today. You know, as everybody knows, we are the Kong family. We're here to change the world. Some people think that might be a crazy goal, but we don't. We know that it's happening every single day. We're changing worlds one family at a time, and it's actually a blast. And I personally have never done anything in my life that's been more rewarding than this company and the people that I've met in this company. And I'm so grateful that we ended up meeting each other on the Enagic Secrets group. And you know, so it's just a blessing to have you here, buddy. I'm really excited to hear your story, to share your story. Our goal here is to share stories, because it was a story that changed my life. All the facts and figures and things like that didn't have any effect on me. I still thought water's water and this is stupid.
yeah,
But then that fateful story came across the feed, and when I read that story, I was like, oh, holy moly, well, hold on a second. Maybe I better take a second look here. So that's why my goal is to get people out here who have, you know, just to hear what it is. Why did you, you know, so my first question to everybody is always the same. It's how, when, and why did you get involved with Kangen water, and were you a skeptic like I was?
yeah. Well, I don't know. I grew up where everybody around me, like the answer was always go get medicine, and I always asked questions about it. Um, Between learning that when we were young, like we went to church a lot, and it was written in the Bible, like our food is our medicine. You know, and like even going and looking back in the Native Americans, our food is our medicine. You know, I was wondering why all of a sudden people were getting all these illnesses, and we always had medicine rather than eating food, or how it correlated. So, um, I was training a lot at one time a couple years ago. I learned about this water about 3 years ago, 3.5, almost 4 years ago now, and I was training. I was in the gym a lot, and my mom has always had fibromyalgia, so I started noticing I had pains, and I went to the doctor, and they told me like, yeah, you have fibromyalgia, you have gout, and all these other ailments. I was training, so I was taking a lot of proteins, and I was not really paying attention to my diet. I just wanted to gain muscle and all this other stuff, really into sports. So what I was doing was I was loading my body with these proteins, and my body was having a hard time digesting them. So I had gout and gained uric acid, so it wasn't flushing. I started looking into different ways to relieve my ailments than through pills, because I was seriously going through a bottle of like 24 Aleve in a day or two. It was ridiculous. So I had a lot of pain, and I always wondered, like, is this ever going to go away? Um, I started looking. I used turmeric, and that worked very well. But then I always ask the question, like, how with the cells, there's got to be an answer for it. So I went and reached out to a few people, and I learned about the water. I had a friend that reached out to me on Facebook, and he said, hey, so I know you're training right now. You have to learn about this water. And I kind of just, blew it off. It was nothing. And, it's just water, dude. I drink water every day. I got my Poland Spring. It's fine. And no, I started actually researching and watching the videos. I watched Daniel D. McCauley's demo video, and that changed my life. There, right there, like everything that he was saying, talking about the pain and people with cancer, the different ailments. It definitely made a difference on how I thought about it, and then so I made a goal that I wanted to get a machine, and took me 3 years actually. But I realized that they were changing people's lives, and it kind of turned me on to a whole different way of thinking and eating. I started changing my diet and buying, eating mostly vegetables, and it's completely changed everything. I got the machine. I wanted to help my mom so bad. Well, hold on a second. I'm sorry. Since I was a kid, my mom's she had a lot of pain, And then I always wanted to help her, and this is the truth. I always wanted to help her when I was a kid. She wasn't able to work when I was a kid, and we grew up kind of hard, and I couldn't do anything. So I tried to, look and take control of things, and I sought the easy way out. And I didn't. I started experiencing the same pains in my body that locked her down all her life. And I seen how she felt about herself growing up, and the things when I was a kid, the struggles that she had physically, and her frustrations. So being locked inside her body and not really being able to do much, and always feeling helpless, and being around that, it affected me in my life and how I grew up as well. I always had pain in my body, but I thought it was normal, and I didn't know that there was there was reasons for it. So I started looking into nutrition and things like that. I learned about the water from my friend Brian. He's been involved with the water for a while, and I did the research on it. I watched the videos. I did the research on it, and I realized that these guys are actually changing people's lives. It's not just people want to they want to make some money. I figured, we have drugs for all the pains that we have. We have medicines. And then you always hear people talking about how, the pharmaceutical, all they want is your money. But what does it really mean? So once I realized that this water actually, if you think about all the pain that we have inside our body, our bodies are made of water. Like if we come from the earth. So why are we taking these chemicals to heal our ailments?
Right.
And I started realizing that the way that we treat our health is completely wrong. You don't put Kool-Aid in a flower and expect it to live and grow. You don't put soda in the flower because you're gonna kill it. You give it water.
Mm-hmm.
But we treat our bodies with everything besides what we really need to live. And once I started drinking the water, like I said, everything changed. I finally got my machine. I got the water, and within 2 days, I noticed like I had a lot of energy. I didn't notice right away a huge difference in everything, but I slowly, I just kept drinking every day. I just drink a couple sips every couple minutes and keep drinking it, and it made a huge difference. I stopped taking. I had stopped taking the pills and everything. And I haven't used anything since. Honestly, I haven't even used any cold medicine, nothing.
And so how long have you been drinking the water now?
Right now, it's been about 7 months.
7 months. And it took
7
you
months.
3 years. 3 years after you found out about it, it was 3 years later that you finally decided that you were. So as far as the 3 years, was that 3 years of time that you were like researching during that 3 years, or?
I looked into like herbs and everything. I was researching. I was looking into all kinds of different things that people use for pain. I was looking at some of it, and I even reading. I was researching some of the medications that they were giving us, and the effects of it. A lot of that time. I mean, I kind of left a huge part of my story out, okay? Because I'm kind of embarrassed about my past, all right? But I mean, my past has a lot of influence on what I'm doing now. I got in trouble and I went away for a long time. I didn't really want to talk about that part, but let me be honest, because I kind of freaked myself out there for a second. I know I kind of, I learned a lot. Those 3 years, after I learned the water, I got in a little bit of trouble, and I kind of picked up some bad habits. And I was around a lot of people that had those habits as well. So in between, I wanted to feel better. I didn't realize that between the alcohol and the drugs and stuff like that, that was the cause of all my pain. But I started researching, I started learning things, but I still wasn't able to cut these habits. And it took me a while to get myself together to where I started learning enough where I understood what I was doing to my body and what I was doing to myself. And I realized that a lot of damage done to our bodies is because we neglect to feed ourselves what we actually need. We deal with everything through an outside source rather than looking at what's actually going on the inside and what we're doing to ourselves. You know, that's how I started doing it. Anyways, the
That's
water.
powerful stuff, brother. Thank you for sharing that. You know, don't be embarrassed by it because, you know, our past is what it is.
Yeah,
And you know, in my opinion, that makes you all the more special and all the more powerful and all the more of a warrior and a hero because oftentimes, I tell this to people all the time, the most difficult part of life and the hardest thing to deal with is the 6 inches between your ears.
yeah,
You know, this is the hardest part for us to deal with. And most people, when they have issues, they don't look in the mirror. They look all around and try to find the blame wherever the heck they can find it, instead of going over to the mirror and looking in the mirror and saying, you know, you're the one that needs to do the changing. And
yeah.
you know, so it sounds to me like that's what you did is you went inward and got control right here,
Yeah.
and that was a huge life changer for you. And so that's fantastic. I mean, that's good stuff right there, brother. Thank you for
I
sharing that.
re- I realized I had to conquer these bad habits. I was ashamed of the things that I was experiencing. I realized that a lot of my exterior pain that I had, a lot of the pain that I had inside my body was a lot of pain I had inside myself. You know, everything in your mind manifests in the physical. No matter what anybody says, like, you know, everything that you feel outside of yourself is actually inside.
Yeah.
And I realized that everything about me had to change in order to change all these pains that I was having, the physical pain and everything. I had to change. And that's part of the reason why it took me so long to get the water. I knew that the way that this water worked, after doing the research, watching the videos, and I jumped into like the science behind it and how it, you know, how it relates to the body. You know what I mean? Even how things grow, just period. You know, I started learning a lot. Um, but I realized like I really wanted this because I wanted to feel better. And everything that I heard about this, all the testimonials, everything that my friend was saying about it. I mean, his grandmother had cancer 3 times and she beat it. And she's been drinking this water. She hasn't had cancer since. You know, and then watching the testimonials about, you know, other people with lupus, arthritis, fibromyalgia as well. And it just made sense because if we're not lubricating our joints and if we're not like putting in waters like gas to our bodies, we can live for over a month without food. We can only live three to 4 days without water. And
Yes.
people don't realize, yeah, but I drink, you know, I drink Poland Spring or I drink soda, I drink juice. I'm like, all right, well, you know, here's the difference. Do you always drink water and not feel thirsty? There's never a time when you're drinking Poland Spring and you're not feeling thirsty. You always want more, you know, between like your urine coming out still being yellow or brown, or, you know, and that show, those are signs of dehydration people don't pay attention to, you know, but started drinking the water and I noticed a huge difference in mobility in my joints. For a long time, I had, you know, I used to fight. I was trained for a long time and I still do now. But I had a lot of pain in my hands and my shoulders, you know, training injuries. I always played sports when I was a kid. So that's another reason why I was looking into alternative means of relieving pain. I found out I had fibromyalgia, that's whatever. But I noticed when I started drinking my joints, I don't feel locked up at all. Nothing really hurts, you know. And it's awesome because I never thought I would feel like this again. You know, for a long time, I had this serious pain where I woke up and like some days I couldn't even put my feet on the floor. I had gout because I used to be a severe alcoholic. You know, and then my high protein diet, which I didn't realize was another cause of these ailments, you know, just eating like animal proteins, the sugars, you know, stuff like that. But I started to notice like I put my feet on the floor and like I couldn't walk in the morning, you know, and that's another thing that changed. I haven't had any of these pains since I started drinking this water. I drink right now, I drink about a half gallon every day, if not more. But when I'm training and when I'm working a lot, I drink about a gallon. But it's completely changed everything, man. You know, I never thought I would feel like this. And even my mom, for me, I grew up, my mom was disabled. She wasn't able to work. We grew up, we were poor. We didn't have anything, you know. So I sought means to do other things. And like this was, the water was kind of like a brand new start for me. It washed everything and made everything brand new, which is what Kangen means, you know. Kangen is return to origin, you know, return to the original state. You know, for me, it's completely changed my life and everything, how I feel about myself, like my confidence, everything, even with my family, you know, it's changed everything for us.
Yeah.
And it's been beautiful because I never thought that we could get to a point where there's you know, everything, it just feels fresh.
Wow. You know, brother, that is so, that makes me feel so happy for you to hear, you know, because like I was telling you at the beginning, my driving force is my mom, even though she's not here anymore. And the reason it is that is because that was, you know, what you're talking about with your mom is exactly what I went through with my mom.
Yeah.
I'm totally blown away that my mom, that I was the second to the last of 12 children, and that I'm the healthiest one in the family. Of course, I started learning about preventative measures 27 years ago after I read the book World Without Cancer. That changed my whole outlook on things where, and nobody in my family will even read that book. And so they're all sick, they're all on medications, they're all hating life, and they all think I'm nuts. And I'm like, hey, whatever, you know, I can't do anything for you if you won't do something for yourself. But you know, my mom, she was always sick. She only had a sixth grade education because she could never make it through a year of school without having to be in the hospital. And so it's just mind boggling to me that I'm here. And, you know, I think that this is why, I lived. My twin sister died after 26 hours. I had to have all my blood transfused as soon as I was born. And, and I'm here. And every day I miss my mother. And she was just exactly like your mother. And I really believe that had I been able to get this water to her, that it would have had the same effects as what it's had for your mother. And so it's so interesting. Our backgrounds, they're like almost spitting images of each other because I was always into sports and my mom, I grew up really poor and, you know, hand-me-downs and building bikes out of parts that I could scrounge up, you know, things like that, you know, hand me down clothes, always wearing, never had the cool clothes or any of that kind of stuff. But I think that stuff builds character in people and helps us appreciate more what we do have. And so, you know, what a fascinating story to hear that. And so during that 3 years that, you know, you were going through some struggles and that kind of thing, and that's a powerful story in its own right. But a lot of people, you know, it takes them a period of time to get the machine because of the cost of the machine.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they have to save up money or whatever. You know, did the expense of the, you know, because personally I say Con doesn't cost.
No.
She pays. She pays. She doesn't cost.
Yeah.
And Kong, my wife insists that Kong is a girl. And I said, why do you think it's a girl? And she said, well, just listen to that little lady in the box. That's a girl's voice. That's not a boy's voice. And, you know, I'm like, hey, you know what? Fair enough. Kong's a girl. And Kong can be both a girl and a boy, but you know, whatever. So I like to have a little bit of fun with that. And, you know, it's called Kangen water. That's why I named it after that big gorilla. I always say, how do you think that gorilla got so big? He's out there in the jungle drinking Kong's water from nature. And so it never was an issue for me, the cost of it. But was it something that was a struggle for you that you had to save up for and you had to figure out how to go about getting it?
Honestly, yeah. You know, I knew I wanted, there was a couple things that I wanted to do with myself. You know, for one, I wanted to change my habits. I wanted to get away from the things that I was doing, you know, and I wanted to feel better about myself. I wanted to feel better physically. After, you know, I had tried so many things and failed in those attempts because I never really committed, you know, and that's one thing that we all have a hard time with is commitment to ourselves, commitment to the dreams that we, you know, that we see for the future, commitment to the things we actually desire, and commitment to how we truly want to feel. We have a hard time, a lot of us, especially the way I grew up, we had a hard time doing that, you know, because everything seemed temporary, you know, nothing was ever solidified. So for me, I had to commit to the idea of what I wanted. And
I feel like it was more so you were taking the chance, like we weren't taking chances in our life.
yeah, well, that's another thing too. I kind of this was kind of a chance, but I stopped doing. I cut my habits. I looked at what the cost was, and I looked at what the benefit was of me getting it. You know, for one, my buddy threw this not really the sales pitch, but gave me the whole like rundown on the machines and how, you know, how much they cost and what the compensation was for the sales and everything like that, and showed me the business of it. I read about that, learned about that, and it was it was something that I really wanted to do. But I knew for that I had to get completely healthy. I had to start changing some things, and I started making moves where I started taking chances. I started taking jobs, doing side jobs. You know, I started doing painting. I started doing siding. I was framing for another guy. I worked full time. I still work full time. I worked full time, and then I took some jobs on the weekend. I even talked to people about, hey, you want to go half on this machine? You know what I mean? Hey, you want to try this? There's many different ways, you know. I looked into the financing. My credit was messed up, so I couldn't do it. But that's also another reason why I knew that for me to establish these things, I have to commit. And that's one thing I never did. You know, it's important to, you know, see an idea, and especially knowing that there's something that can make a difference. You know, you try all these things, and like the one thing that people don't look at is you'll take a pill that has 30 different, you know, side effects to it. You know, they got a 5-minute commercial. They talk about the pill, the positive effects for a minute and a half, and the last 4.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes is the side effects and what it, you know, other causes of the pill. Oh, it's going to poison your liver, your lungs, your heart, your brain. You know, you have nervous issues. You know, but yeah, I'm going to take this for my acid reflux. You know, get out of here. You know, and the thing is like you don't take a chance on the unknown because you're afraid. It's like walking into a room with no lights on. You know, we all hesitate, but why? No, I don't know what's back there. I don't know who's there. You know, but this is the thing. You know, it's just not known. But if you think about it, you go back in history. What did our grandparents, our great grandparents, you know, I mean, before they started making pharmaceutical drugs, what did they use? They used water and food, healthy ingredients, herbs, different uses, different things that you eat. You know, and the thing is, our bodies are made up of water. But I knew that was from reading about the science. I knew that this was a positive thing, and it will do exactly what it says. So I made a commitment. I took side jobs. I worked for other people. I worked full time and worked for myself, and subbed out jobs from another guy. And I eventually, I did it.
Wow.
And it was huge. That was an awesome goal because I mean, I quit drinking. For one, as soon as I got this water, like I tried to drink a little bit too, but I noticed the thing about this water is when I started drinking it, I didn't crave anything. I didn't want anything else. You know, and it helped me. It helped me cut those habits, man. You know, and it started with the commitment to make this decision for myself, and knowing that it's gonna create a positive future for me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
you know, one of the things I always love to tell people about this water is that it actually gets to your brain before it gets to your stomach.
And you can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you drink it when it's fairly cold, it doesn't even have to be like ice cold. It just needs to be like fairly cold, and it'll give you a brain freeze because it gets to your brain so fast, and it like, whoa, man, you know. And the first time I ever had that happen, I was like, holy moly, that is crazy.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it does. Most of the people that are running around the world today, they're dehydrated. And you know, another tremendous book that I highly recommend is this one right here. It's called "You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty."
Yep.
If you haven't heard about this one, it's by Dr. Batman, we call him.
Yeah, I've read it.
But get this book. And, you know, the thing about this book is he's just talking about regular old plain old water. He ain't talking about Kong's water.
Yeah.
And so you have to take everything that's in that book and multiply it by like 6 to 8 times, because drinking 1 gallon of Kangen water is like drinking 6 to 8 gallons of any other kind of water out there. And the truth of the matter is people can't drink 6 to 8 gallons of water. They drown themselves trying to drink that much water every day.
Yep.
And, you know, so it's such a fascinating thing. And, you know, so your story is really fascinating. And I love the fact that your mom is on the show here with us today, because I love to get, you know, your mom probably has a tremendous story to tell. And so if you don't mind for a minute, I'd love to hear her opinion and hear her story and what she thinks about this. Because, you know, one thing that's really important that we have to remember here, that we've got to make sure that we make very clear: Kangen water doesn't cure anything. It doesn't heal anything. It doesn't cure anything. Where the healing takes place, where the curing takes place, is right here. This baby, this machine that God gave us, this is the most amazing machine in the world, and it's designed to be its own mechanic.
Yep. And
what Kangen water is it is simply the most important tool in the toolbox, so that the machine can be its mechanic and fix itself. And it's amazing what it does when it gets the most important tools that it needs. And so with what's coming up next, I want to make sure that people understand that Kangen water didn't cure anything. Okay, so very important to remember that. And so I would really love to hear from Caroline what, you know, what her story has been, and, you know, what, you know, you helped her get this machine. And, you know, I'd love to hear what her story has been, if that's okay.
absolutely. I did this with the idea to help her, honestly.
And the thing is because she's here, it would be better if she actually tells her story personally, because we're actually not allowed to tell other people's stories. We can tell our own story, but we can't really tell other people's stories. And so because she's in the room here, I'd love to just have her tell her story. So Caroline, what's shaking there, honey?
Not much, but everything's good.
So what's your, how long have you been drinking Kangen water?
About the same amount of time as my son.
Okay.
When, well, like he said, when they were growing up, things were tough. And I had a lot of pain. I've had fibromyalgia since I was 27. I've got other medical issues that I've gone through. Struggled with pain, being on pills, etc., the whole thing, which made it worse, actually, in the end. Changed my eating habit. Got away from all the red meat and stuff. Eat a lot of chicken, turkey, a lot of dried beans. I make my own beans. Eat a lot of vegetables and fruit now. But the beginning of it is when my son said to me, he goes, "Remember when I promised you that I was going to help you find some way to deal with the pain?" And I said, "Yeah." And he told me that he found this water, and he called it Kangen water, and he wanted me to try it. And so I did. Brought it home, drank it for a few weeks, and it detoxified my body. I was constantly in the bathroom. It also took away from the inflammation of the fibromyalgia and the arthritis, where when I wake up now, I'm not stiff and sore. I can jump out of bed, do my thing, and get my stuff done that I have to do. Drinking it the first time was amazing to me, because it was just, it's not that it tasted different, but there was something different about it. It was very invigorating, gave me energy. I've lost weight because of the water, helping me changed a lot of things in my eating and stuff. Um, it sanitizes things, and I use it for sanitation on my countertops, bathroom, etc., everywhere else in my house. I cook with it. It makes marvelous coffee. Um, but I am learning more and more every day. But my life has really changed. I've lost almost 20 pounds, and it's all due to changing the water. The Kagan water is amazing. I would never say anything less. I love Kagan water. It does things to your body that needs to be done. It cleans out all those medications and the what is it? Um, when you have a
Toxin.
reaction to it, yeah. And I've gotten off of gabapentin to different milligrams. I was on 600 milligram and 300 milligram. I've also gotten off my mood stabilizing medication because of the water. And I'm working on a few others that I'm going to be letting go of. But the water has made a amazing improvement in my body, in my attitude, my joints, everywhere. It's just amazing. And he kept his promise, and I thank him for that very much, and I love him very much. He's an amazing man, and he's been very good to me all my life, and he still is today, even though I'm old now. But the Kagan water is an amazing thing that they've had come out with, even though we didn't know about it way back when. And life has gotten better. Attitude changes everything. Everything's just coming together the way it should be. So that's basically my story. Before the Kagan water, it was just tough. I was always taking meds for it. I was always
She muted herself.
Uh-oh. You muted
and
yourself, Mom. There you go.
that's basically where I stand.
I
That's
love it.
where
So
I
do you
stand.
have your own machine?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
So right now, Chris is bringing you the water, or you're going over and getting it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well,
We're working on getting
we're
that.
going to have a discussion, Chris, to help you learn how you can get your mom a machine and
Absolutely.
get it done like quickly. And, so we'll have to have another discussion about that because
Okay.
there's a method of madness to this thing that is so incredibly cool that, Mr. Oshiro, he wants everybody in the world to have one of these machines. And anybody who wants one can have one. And there are so many different ways that we can make it happen. And so I don't know what you know about the compensation plan and that kind of thing, but there's some really cool things about this compensation plan. It's designed unlike any other. For me, I've been self-employed since I was 19 years old, and now I'm 54 years young. And I've tried. I was even an Amway distributor at one time. I mean, I've been involved with so many different network marketing companies and direct sales companies and things like that. And there ain't nothing out there that comes anywhere near the way this company works. It is so fascinating.
Right.
And quite frankly, I made a big mistake by not being interested in the business from the start. I only wanted the water. I didn't care about the company. I had 3 other companies I was running at the time, and I wasn't interested in the business. And even once I got interested in the business, I still wasn't even interested in the comp plan. And that cost me a lot of money because I did things all wrong. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand what I had right there in my hands. I was out there looking around for all this other stuff, and what I needed, what I had, it was right here in my hands. I already had it sitting on my countertop. And so my goal now is to help other people not make that same mistake. And, and then of course, to share this water with the world. And, so I'm going to shift gears here just a little bit. I want to I want to ask you, this is my favorite question to ask people because I always get some sort of a different answer that always gives a little golden nugget to everybody, something that we can learn from. And that question is this. You're out there, you're over at the gym, you're in line at the grocery store, and you got 30 seconds, you got a minute, maybe. And you got somebody that, you know, you want to, you only have a little bit of time and you need to like drop that little drip on them or whatever to, you know, try and introduce them to this water. What's your go-to move? You know, what do you end up saying to that person when you're in line or whatever? What do you what's your favorite thing to say?
I used to I used to buy essentials, so I had an experience like this the other day. My thing was like, I'm so glad I don't have to pay for that water anymore. And then, you know, they usually ask, like, what do you mean? I said, well, you know, I said that after I learned about that water, I learned about this other kind of water. It's so much better for you and it's way less expensive. And that's right there. So, and then the girl looked at me. She said, well, how is it better? This is alkaline water. I said, well, I said, it's chemically alkaline water. I said, but I said, I drink Kangen water, drink Kangen water, like, you know, here. And that's it.
So you gave her a card and
Gave her a card. If you want to learn about it, give me a call. You know, I mean, here's it. Like, I realized and I learned about this, right? Where like I can show, but I mean, that's what I can't really press it on you. I mean, some people aren't ready to learn something different because, you know, when you go against the beliefs that you've always held, it's kind of scary to realize that the world isn't exactly the way that you know.
yeah.
You know, and it says a lot. You know, it says a lot about. But you know, to the ones that are open to hear a different message and to learn the truth about our bodies and what we need to live.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, between like and that's the other thing. You know, learning about drinking the water and utilizing the water in our diet, but learning the health benefits, like just like about everything that we put on our body and the whole process. I've learned so much since drinking this water, and I feel so much better. And I notice a difference in my kids too. You know, it affects everybody around me. It changes your whole attitude, your whole mindset on stuff. You know, everything is about health and wellness now.
Yeah.
And I feel much more better than I ever have. And that's the thing. Like even you know, the relationships, this right here, you know, the conversations we have, sharing our stories. You know, you realize like, you know, we're all the same. We all have the same issues, the same problems. The only thing that's different is how we choose to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've grown a lot in this process. You know, and I can say I'm proud to see who I've become. You know, I mean, who I'm becoming as a result of all this.
Yeah.
But it's definitely made a huge difference, and it's important because taking like at first I was like, you know, I don't want to. That's a lot of money to put down, especially if you don't have it, you know. And but you know, one of the thoughts that I had was, you know, where will I be if I don't? I always feel like this. I'll never know if it would make a difference, and it's made more of a difference than I thought it would. You know, it's not just physical. My whole heart, my whole being. It's changed everything. So something I'm definitely very grateful for. And you know, the information shared by, you know, people such as yourself, you know, and other distributors that have the time in with it and have more knowledge. I love learning, you know, and catching the same interest.
Yeah. You know, the thing about the word enagic, the name of the company enagic, it's where Mr. Oshiro came up with that is that it's a combination of energy and magic. Enagic.
Yep.
That's how he came up with the name. And it really and truly is that. It's energy and magic. And like Daniel DiMicali says, this is a self-development program with a compensation plan attached.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that assessment?
Definitely do. I definitely do, because I mean, I've seen the benefits of both. Honestly, you know, ever since I've learned about this opportunity, you know, part of the thing was, you know, when you know, one of the guys that I was speaking to for a while when I first started, he was like, you know, you should get into the, you know, have you heard about, you know, the magic, you know, you heard about The Secret. I said, yeah. He said, well, read this book, The Magic. And ever since reading that and then getting into other, other books, Think and Grow Rich and things like that, you realize everything that we're doing here as a community is about our self-growth. And we're passing through the thresholds that we used to hold in our mind, and we're creating new ones through what we thought about was possible.
Yeah.
And not very many places you go or even people you talk to is going to teach you these things or even open your mind to the point where you realize everything that you think you become.
Yes, exactly.
And
what was the name of that book you mentioned there just a second ago? The first one?
The Secret or The Magic?
The Secret. The
Yeah.
Secret or Magic?
The Secret. That's one of them. And then The Magic is the next one. They're both by Rhonda Byrne. Byrne.
Love it. That's another reason why I love having people come on this show, because as a part of their stories, they usually, excuse me, they love to share where they got their wisdom, where they got their knowledge, where they got their growth.
Oh man, yeah, it's that's part of the thing too. I'm sorry to cut you off on that.
No, go ahead.
No, that's part of it too. I've read a lot, even that's just the kind of person I am, though. I always look for a deeper meaning in things, because not everything is what it seems. It is, but it isn't. Everybody, like, especially dealing in like today, everybody's only willing to look so far to find, short, they low hanging fruit. They look for short answers, short explanations behind things that, it's not. It's a little deeper than what you think it is, and like there you can get so much more out of this experience, out of this out of the knowledge than just what you think it is.
Yeah.
But between the books and the motivation stuff, it's really important. That's what I'm seeing with myself is keeping that energy level. Like, you have great energy, JJ. You everything that you do, like the way that you are and stuff like that, when I hear you talk and stuff like that, I love it. It's inspiring. But it makes a difference, and if you can make a difference in one person's day and make somebody smile, man, you change their world for that moment. And that's another thing that I learned between the books that I've read and the things that I listen to and other people hear and other people talk, and even relating myself to others, and it's important. It's important to be like that, to have people like that around you, and to seek for different meaning in things, because it's not always, you can have one feeling about something, but it's not the truth, because in relationships or when you have interactions with people, someone just might not be thinking about something and you take it as an insult, and their mind's caught on something else because they have a bad feeling, like, their parent passed, or they're whatever it is. There's a lot of people are sick. People have things going on in their head and in their body, and like,
yeah.
It's better to be a better person. It feels good to feel good.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I love your story, man. I'm so grateful that you came here today to share this, because I think, once this gets out onto the YouTube channel and it starts getting shared around, that your story is going to make a big difference. And like I told you in the message yesterday, you just never know whose life you're going to change with your story. And, this company, like you were saying, there's something that's really unique about this company. There's so many things, actually. But one thing in particular about this company is that the compensation plan of this company is designed with an incentive for us to all help each other.
Yeah.
Regardless of pay lines, regardless of whether you're on the same team or not, we're all in the same league. And I want to bring my brother Sean Wetzel is in the house, and if you look at the address of the Facebook page for the Kong Family Show,
mm-hmm.
The address actually says the Kong Brothers, and Wetzel, he's my Kong brother, And, you know, originally I started this as the Kong Brothers show, but then decided to change it to the Kong family. But the address still says Kong Brothers. And, you know, whenever Wetzel's in the house, I always love to give him an opportunity to ask a question or just whatever kind of comments he might have, because he always brings a bunch of laughter and humor and also some good solid information to the table. And so, hey, Wetz, are you in there? You listening? There he is.
Yeah, man,
Hey, big
I
fella.
shut it into. No, I tried jumping on with you guys early, and you guys, there was no foreplay, there was no holding hands. You guys got under the covers right away. So by the time I got here, I was just either I'm going to stand and watch these guys or start folding clothes. So yeah, I just been folding clothes. But no, powerful stuff, my man. I mean, geez, Louise, your mom, what a gorgeous, beautiful story she is, man. I mean, I love your sincerity for her. I mean, yeah, everything. I mean, I could ask questions way early. At this point in time, I've got too many to be disrupted. So, yeah, I've been digging your story. I love your humility. Yeah, man, keep doing what you do. Be to dial in outside of this whole piece. Because again, just the whole commonality, you know, blonde haired, blue eyed kid growing up in Blackfeet Indian country, dealt with a lot of things too, exposed to things you wish you weren't exposed to. You know, as a dad, I find myself really thankful I don't got to put my little man through all that, you know. And my son's Eastern Shoshone, but he pretty much knows that he's Blackfeet the way he was raised. So he gets that, you know, they got their names and stuff, but I'm glad they don't got to grow up in that environment of poverty and desperation. And, you know, I got people still back where I come from, and I love them. That's my home, and it'll always be my home. But I don't want my kids growing up in that environment. There's too much dysfunction. There's too much, you know, just lack of hope, you know. And I think what you're talking about, coming from the struggles that you came from, you're just a big ass beacon of hope, you know. You just got a big bright light, man, and you're shining it. And a lot of people in the darkness, you know, they don't know. They're afraid of that light because they've never been around it. And when somebody from there, especially in your world, somebody they relate to, they're like, wait, what's all of a sudden this guy? Something just went boom. This guy's all of a sudden just radiating light, you know. So give it time. Some of those people will come around. Some of them won't. You know, that cognitive dissonance is a mother funker. And I did use the N, funker, right?
It definitely is.
Trying to keep it PG up on this Kong Brothers piece. But I digress. The bottom line is, man, your transformation all started within. And to see it radiating and reflecting out now, dude, it's wild. It's beautiful. And I'm proud of you just from a brother to brother standpoint. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people don't know how to strap up and get out of that environment that chains them. They don't. And so they might try and go to college. They might try and do something. They realize they're lonesome for that environment, and it's just all crab claws. You know, people trying to get up and out of that pot, no. You know, they get yanked right back in. And what you're talking about is having a strength that goes beyond your environment. You have a strength that goes to your mom. It goes to your grandparents. There's a strength that you're drawing from that you seem to be fairly aware of. And that's your medicine, you know, because your environment could have poisoned you. Your environment could have had you locked up or dead at this point. And the fact that you ain't, the fact that you're here, you've raised the bar in your own life. And, you know, your wife, I see her, you see your mom, you guys, this is a good show, man. So anyway, yeah, Jay John, thanks for bringing that up. Like I said, just running on Blackfeet time a little bit, and you guys were already shagging, so I just figured I'd throw on the mute button and wait for the next turn.
Yeah, you know, the thing about Sean is that, you know, Sean and I, we've been friends since we first met, and we met in a Zoom call like this. And, you know, we're kind of the epitome of how this system works, because we're not on the same team, but we're most definitely in the same league together. And we're always working together, we're always doing things together, we're always helping each other, we're always supporting each other. And it's the same thing with the tree topper there, Paul Nelson, that's in the house. He's, you know, we're not on the same team, but we're in the same league. And this company is built like nothing I've ever seen in that regard. And, you know, I just realized something, that your little sweetie is in the house. And
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you
Get
don't
that
mind,
girl a
I'd love to
talking.
hear her side of the story. What's your story there, Kristen? You want to jump in and give a little piece of what you think about this whole mess?
Boy.
My story is similar to Chris's, honestly. I've been with him for 10 years. So we've been through all of it together. My personal opinion, when he had said, or you had asked him, what was the 3 years like? Why was that a significant number before getting the machine? I feel like me and him both have grown significantly. So that 3 years was like that was our breaking point to where we were taking chances in our life and we were doing things.
Yeah.
What?
Goal setting. We were goal setting.
Oh, yeah. And even with myself, like I wasn't putting 100% into myself when me and him got together, and we hit a breaking point. And then as soon as the water came in, it was like everything just was all easy flowing from there. But I love cleaning with it. That's like, I can't wait till somebody comes over that he like wants to show the water to, and I'm like, wait, it cleans mirrors, watch this. And I'm like, I'm all over the place with it. But yeah, I love cleaning with it. I'm a huge clean freak. Cooking, I love cooking with it. I don't know if you're familiar with boiled dinner, but it's oh yeah, I'm getting all into it. But it's like ham, cabbage, carrots, potatoes. And I remember I was at work one day and I was like, oh crap, I didn't prepare dinner or anything. And Chris was at home and I said, I need you to quickly put the potatoes, the carrots, and the cabbage in because it's going to take a few hours for it to cook. And he ended up using the Kangen water. And I want to say I was expected to be home about half hour, 45 minutes after I had called him initially to start dinner. And by the time when I got home, the carrots were already so soft. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, it should have taken a few hours. Like, what is this? But so ever since then, we've been cooking with the Kangen water, especially like pastas or things that might take longer, like beans. Ma, I don't know if you use the Kangen water with the beans and then realized a cooking reduction time, but yeah, stuff's, it's crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was skeptical at first, but I mean, his dreams and his passions are important to me, so I support them. But now that I drink it all the time and I'm using it for my psoriasis and cleaning the house, and we've got a humidifier with the 2.5 going in the house because of all these things going on, the pandemic, I feel relaxed with the 2.5 being blown around my house and me spraying the crap everywhere, but
did you just say that you had psoriasis?
Yeah. So I couldn't even tell you when it started or how I even got it. I know my mom had it really, really badly on her back. It was like just her entire back was just really spotted with psoriasis, dry patches and stuff like that. And I want to say last year or the day before, I started developing it on my hand. And I've just been spraying like the 2.5 on it, drinking the 9.5, and then spraying the 11.5 on it as well. But even with Chris's gout, we used to soak his feet with the 2.5. I tell you what, he is such a crybaby with his gout.
Oh.
I'm so glad I don't hear you crying anymore.
Listen, God bless you. But that's where the girls got to be able to stand up and hold that fort down, because we know we're softer than we know you girls are cranking out children. All we're doing is planting seeds in the garden. We don't understand that kind of pain, but you don't have to exploit it in the global Kong show. God bless you. I got your back, Hoggard. I've cried like a baby too, man, but I ain't ever cranked out a baby, so I don't understand how to deal with that pain. But I digress. Forgive me. I'm just trying to protect.
That's right.
No, but I'm very excited and happy that he doesn't have those pains anymore, because like I said, through the duration of our 10-year relationship, it was just constant pain and fibromyalgia. Even mom had a colostomy, what was it?
She had diverticulitis. She had to get a colostomy bag.
Yeah.
They cut part of her intestine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of health issues that I don't see anymore since having the machine at home.
Yeah. Boy, that's exciting. You know, I've got a buddy that has severe psoriasis all over his body, and he just absolutely refuses to try this water. And you're not the first person that I've seen that, because psoriasis is simply an acute dehydration problem.
Mm-hmm.
Your skin is extremely dehydrated and it is oxidizing itself. It's literally rusting. Yep. Like a piece of metal out in the yard. And, it's so whenever I hear that, I always love to, try and pull that out into the discussion, just in case maybe someday my buddy actually listens to this. Maybe, because it doesn't matter what I tell him, but if, maybe if somebody else tells him that it might change his life forever. And so I really, really appreciate you sharing that with us. And you can use this water for all kinds of things, and it's great for cooking and cleaning and everything else. And, I always tell everybody that, oh, you know what, just real quickly, I gotta talk to you guys about something. You keep calling it Kangen water. Okay. Now I need you to listen in to that little beautiful voice in the machine. And she says, Kangen water, 9.5. Kangen water, 8.5. She doesn't say Kangen water, 8.5. Kangen water,
right.
8.5. And so you guys, you got to get it straight. It's Kangen water. That's why Kong. That's why that big gorilla exists, because it's Kong's water. Anyway, I just had to throw that in there because, I always say if it were Kangen water, Kong wouldn't exist. And so, but, you can use this water for anything and everything. And I always say Kong makes everything better. It doesn't matter what it is. I have done so many tests in Kong's lab where I've taken this product or that product or this drink or that drink or whatever and taken it and measured it with my ORP meter and then taken and added Kangen water to it. And all of a sudden you got something that's giving you a negative ORP and it's actually good for you. I've actually taken steak and chicken and pork, measured its ORP, and it's got a high positive ORP. And then I soak it in 11.5 all day long. And well, I've done it as long as like 8 hours, and I've also done it for as few as like 3 hours. And I'm soaking these meats in that 11.5 water, and then afterwards testing their ORP, and now they have this high negative ORP. They go from a positive 250 up to a negative 350, and then we go ahead and cook them up to a medium rare and test the ORP, and they still have a negative 200.
Wow.
And so, Kangen water literally makes everything better, you guys. So give that a try sometime. And
I never thought of that.
Hey, can I ask? Yeah, no, dig it. Listen, man, he is so on point with that. I also want to help you kids with some protocols and stuff, digging your girls scene with the psoriasis deal. I've got some stuff that I'd like to share with you guys, so I'll just drop it to you if you don't mind me adding you on Facebook.
No,
then
please.
I can drop you some stuff on Messenger. I'll send you some protocols I got, man, because this stuff is it's huge. It's huge. And like Jay John, he's the one that took that whole meat and flesh thing. You think about it. That is acidic like we don't even want to acknowledge now that we know. Yeah. And this white boy is turning it alkalized, man. Yeah. I mean, this guy is like,
I didn't think, I don't know why. Where would you get that idea? That's awesome.
No, just because he's an innovative genius. That's all.
That is awesome. I didn't think about that.
Will you eat meat more often now knowing that?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really eat it any more often. I still eat pretty much the same way. But everything I do eat, everything goes through Kong's water before it gets eaten. Everything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Yeah,
matter what it
Chris
is.
is very iffy about meats. He doesn't like meats, but I try to soak it in the the 11.5, and then he'll eat it. But now that he knows that, he'll
Oh,
probably eat it a lot more often.
oh,
You know what
man.
else, you guys? It is the most incredible. The 11.5 water is the most amazing tenderizer. As that's
Yes.
the thing about that chicken, that pork, and that steak. All three of them literally melted in our mouths when we ate them. It was so yummy, so juicy, so tender. And, the coolest part of it was after cooking it, it still had a negative ORP, because they say that by cooking stuff, you steal its value.
Yeah.
You steal its nutrients.
Yeah.
And perhaps you're maybe stealing some of the nutrients out of it by cooking it, but I don't care what you say, the ORP meter doesn't lie. The ORP meter doesn't have no bias. It doesn't care about anybody's opinion. All it does is
Right.
just measures electrons. That's all it does. And so when you've got something that you're eating that has negative electrons, that is providing electrons to your body. It's providing antioxidants to your body. It's hard to imagine turning a steak into an antioxidant.
That would make it easier to digest, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because of the electrons.
Yeah.
So
Now,
yeah.
That's what's so cool about it. But so you guys, we're just about wrapped up here, but I want to give one of my big deals about this show is one of my things is to unite people, because anybody that knows me, has followed me long enough, understands that I don't really care where people get their machines from. If they get them from me, great. If they don't, great. I don't care. I've had people that I let use my loaner machine that went and got them a machine from someone else. And anytime they need help, I help them. Anytime they need information, guess who they call? And guess who says, yep, do this, do that, do this, blah, blah, whatever. Here's what you need, because it's true. I really don't care where people get their machine from. What I care about is that they get their machine. And so at this point in the show, I always like to give the guests the opportunity to give whatever information they want, because Chris, there may be people out there when they watch this that they're like, man, I got to hook up with this dude. He's coming right up my alley. Everything that he says just totally resonates with me. And I need to work with this guy. So Chris, this is totally your call too. You can give away whatever information you want. You can give away all your information. You can give away none of your information. It's totally your call. But I like to give everybody the opportunity before we close to give whatever contact information you would like to give people, so that if they do resonate with you, when they watch this YouTube video 6 months or a year or 2 years from now, they can get a hold of Chris Hoggard. How do they do it?
All right. Well, I'm on Facebook for one. You can look my name up, Chris Hoggard. I don't know what my profile picture is. I think I got my back and I have my 2 sons with me. It's a sunset. As well as I'm in Manchester, New Hampshire. My I guess my email. I'll give you my Gmail. It's choggard34@gmail. So it's CHOGGARD at Gmail, 34@gmail. And yeah, I'm open to any, if you want to message me or anything like that, I'm welcome to it. Share information, ask for information. I'm willing to help you out.
Awesome. Chris, and one thing, just as a little side note on that, if you do send Chris a friend request on Facebook, will you please do him the common courtesy of telling him why you sent that friend request?
Please.
So that he knows who you are, and that kind of thing. Let him know that you saw him on that crazy Kong family show, and you want to hook up with him, and that kind of thing. And send him an email or whatever for being able to hook up. And I'm hoping that there's going to be people out there. I believe there's going to be people out there that are going to resonate with this show. They're going to resonate with you, and they're going to want to hook up with you. And I'm praying that ends up happening, because I want people to have this machine, and I want them to get it from the people that they resonate with the best. And you know, so the last thing I would like to ask you, Chris, is if you have one last thing that you would like to leave, one last golden nugget, one last inspirational thought, one last whatever that you would like to drop on our audience before we get out of this joint and go get to changing the world.
I would say the biggest thing that's made the biggest change with me is I got tired of hurting and I focused on health. I got tired of feeling bad, and I had to figure out a way to feel better. So I focused on my health. And once I focused on that health, I focused on physical health and what did I need to do to take care of my physical health. And once I focused on my physical health, my mental health became a lot easier. Once I focused on that, my relationship changed. Once I focused on that, I got closer with my sons. And I mean, it's not something that happens all at once. You work at it every day, but it's something that you commit to. And once you commit to that, I don't know who said it, but it's like everything else just comes running to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, mental, physical, financial.
Yeah.
You know, physical, mental, financial, and honestly, it's the goals. You know, you set that goal for that health, and everything it just unfolds itself.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I love that, man. That might be one of the best ending messages ever, right there. That's some serious stuff. In fact, when I put this out, I'm going to tell people, hey, if nothing else, just go to the last 2 minutes and listen to what Chris has to say at the very end of this video. You know, 'cause
that dude's rock solid. Thank you very much, Chris.
you're welcome, brother.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks for being here, brother. I love you, man.
Yeah,
And,
Chris is solid as a nut.
Amen, man. Like a apricot.
Amen. Good job, my friend.
I appreciate
Good
it,
job.
man. Thank you.
So yeah, Chris, thank you so much, buddy. And you know, in closing, we are the Kong family, and we're here to change the world. And there's a lot of people out there who think that that's a crazy thing to say or a crazy goal or whatever, you know, but the truth is it starts one world at a time. And,
That's right.
you know, and Sean, how is it again that we're changing the world?
You know, it's funny you should ask. And I don't mind answering that. It's supremely hydrating, oxygen-rich, hydrogen-saturated, 9.5 at a time. And when a brother's feeling frisky, I'll douse some of that 11.5 down like it's the last bit of Kool-Aid in the fridge. You know what I mean?
My man.
Yes, amen.
Hey, yeah, you're solid as a rock like Ashford and Simpson, my man. I'm telling you.
No doubt, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy, that's it. You know, that water, one lightning bolt in a box, one incredible guest, one informative show, one amazing family at a time. And kids, God bless you all. Get out there, change the world, starting with your own. And especially nowadays, in these times when you can't go get a hug from somebody else because it's illegal, you better give yourself a big old hug. Don't forget your hugs, kids, and your hooty-hoos. Let them rip. And, you know, so get out there, kids. Change the world, starting with your own. God bless you. Thank you for being here, buddy. It was a great meeting, and I sure enjoyed it. And it's great getting to know you, getting to meet your mom and your beautiful wife. And you know, keep up the great work. And let's hook up. I need to talk to you about how you can get Mama her own machine here. Like,
no, definitely. I appreciate your time, man. I appreciate the interest and the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Hey, keep rocking it like Herbie Hancock, my friend. Keep going.
No doubt, brother.
Hey,
No doubt.
Chris, do you have some time right now?
Yeah, man, I'm free.
So just hang into the room. I'm going to go ahead and end the live video and stop the recording, and we'll talk.
All right, man.
And anybody else who wants to hang around, you can do the same.
I guess I'll get
Guys,
back to work.
Thanks everybody on the live side.
Thank you, young lady.
Thanks you guys for being here over on the live side. Really appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show and got as much value out of that as I did. Get out there, change the world, starting with your own. Love you. Hooty hoo. See you guys tomorrow for some more fun. Okay, ending that. And let's go.
What? Okay, so we off? You done recording?